Every day, over 15 million members are transforming Africa. $15 million members, empowered to create, to harvest, to unite, to dream. Equity. Karibu member.
A very good evening and welcome to News Watch with me, Tony Omondi, as I bring you the latest news making headlines in the country. Thank you so much for tuning in to Hope TV. Our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Our nominated Senator Beth Mugo has weighed in on the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission's move to do away with the manual voter register, saying the move is catastrophic. Speaking at County Hall, Nairobi, Mugo said doing away with the manual register will lock out a significant amount of people from voting in the upcoming election. Meanwhile, human rights group Haki Africa has submitted to relevant authorities, including NCIC, IEBC and DCI, reports gathered across various hotspot areas in the country to curb electoral violence and unrest. Our reporter Grace Ongoi will be bringing us this comprehensive report just shortly. But meanwhile, Pigben Odimwengu, who wanted to vie as an independent candidate for the country's presidency, has cast doubt in the preparedness of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, to deliver free and credible election. Speaking to Hope TV, the youthful aspirant was barred by the commission for falling short of the requirements, says that the commission, by its own admission, has yet to win the confidence of the public that the election will be above board. Odimwengu says being locked out of the ballot will not deter him from agitating for what he calls a peaceful revolution to articulate the real issues affecting Mwananchi, citing the high cost of living, which the government is yet to address.
I've been having a network of young men and women across the country who are ready even to do this process. And even at the time that I was given my booklet, the 2000 booklet, so that I could go around the country to collect the signatures, my young men and women were ready and I shared some to them. But until like 2 weeks before the deadline and 2 weeks after we were given after I received my booklets, that the IBC came with a silent law that has never been implemented. And even we've been questioning more about it, that you must bring those signatures back with the photocopies of ID. This became very expensive in terms of financial preparation. Of course, I was prepared to pay 100,000 that is required to clear president. I was ready to pay that. But now even to photocopy or print 50,000 photocopies of ID, that's close to 500,000. And this is a budget that's coming to your schedule within 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks to raise 500,000 that has not been in your mind all along. You can only kill the messenger, but you cannot kill the message. Revolution is late. It ought to have happened so many years ago. But we have been postponing it up to date. And now it doesn't mean that it must be me. But I think as I talk of rapid leadership change, it must be rapid leadership change. That we move away from the ordinary political structures of leadership to something new, a new breed of leadership, a new mentality, a new ideology in political leadership, and a new people in leadership. And I think the time is still here. The fact that I was not cleared to be on the ballot as a president, there are so many people who are coming up in different levels, from MCAs, from MPs, from governors to presidents, who are new. And I believe it's time that they be given an opportunity actually to bring that rapid change in the leadership of this country. 2027, I'll still present myself. If I'll succeed to be on the ballot, and people don't vote me, I'll still present myself. And if it happens that I die before being a president, I'll die being a presidential aspirant.
In support of victims of torture, the Independent Medical Legal Unit has launched a shadow report to the UN Committee Against Torture, CAT, for the period 2013 to 2022, collectively authored by 21 civil society organizations. Speaking during the event held in Nairobi, IMLU Director Peter Kiama said that their commitment to speak up against the atrocities meted on the citizens of Kenya remains at the forefront of their mantra of a society free from torture and related violations. The shadow report by the joint civil society organizations was prepared by IMLU for consideration by the UN Committee Against Torture at its 73rd periodic review session held in Geneva from April to May this year, during which the third periodic report for the Kenya government was examined. As Kennedy Kimani reports, IMLU, however, says that there's more that needs to be done in ensuring access to redress and rehabilitation for victims of torture and related violations.
The Independent Medical Legal Unit has today launched a shadow report to the UN Committee Against Torture in support of the victims of torture. Speaking today during the event held in Nairobi, IMLU Director Peter Kiama said that their commitment to speak up against the atrocities meted on the citizens of Kenya remains at the forefront of their mantra of a society free from torture and related violations.
In 2022, up to June this year, IMLU has documented 108 cases of torture and related violations, and out of these cases, 65 cases were cases of torture, cruel, inhumane, and degrading treatment and punishment. 36 of these cases were extrajudicial executions, 7 were enforced disappearances, and 91 of these cases were of victims were male, while 17 were female.
For close to 30 years, IMLU has been at the forefront of medical legal documentation of torture and related violations. The shadow report notes the strides made by the state in addressing torture. But as Dr. Ahmed Kalebi states, a lot remains to be done for the state to fulfill its obligations.
The perpetrators are becoming more ingenious, if you have noticed that. Nowadays, people are being thrown into rivers, people are being thrown into bushes, where by the time we actually get the remains, a lot of evidence has disappeared. But the good thing is we are getting better at documentation, better at investigations, and no matter what they do, ultimately justice will always prevail. Of course, there is what we say time value to money, and I'll say there is time value to justice. If it takes too long before there is redress, and that's why we're talking about redress. If it takes too long before there's redress, then it's meaningless.
IMLU, however, says that there's more that needs to be done in ensuring access to redress and rehabilitation for victims of torture and related violations. Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch, Nairobi.
All right, let's go back to a first story where nominated Senator Beth Mugo has weighed in on the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission's move to do away with the manual voter register, saying that the move is catastrophic. Speaking at County Hall, Nairobi, Mugo said doing away with the manual register will lock out a significant amount of people from voting in the upcoming election. Grace Ongoi reports.
All eyes are on the IEBC as they prepare for the general election come August 9th. The Commission has come continually under fire for going fully digital in regards to the voter register in this year's election. While defending their reason for going digital, the Commission had maintained that it was a measure to curb against election malpractices that had been witnessed before. On this matter, nominated Senator Beth Mugo criticized the move, noting that it had the potential to lock out voters whose identity cannot be verified through the digital voter register.
As Chepkati doesn't want the older people to vote, and the people who do heavy manual jobs, and there are many digging, and we know in the rural areas, our parents, our grandparents, they have grown in that way. now coupled with the age, for sure they will not be able to vote.
Questions on the integrity of those cleared by IEBC came up, with Mugo questioning the Commission's decision to clear over 200 aspirants who were flagged by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC early June.
I also wish to take issue with IEBC's decision to clear over 200 people who the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC had recommended that they be barred from vying in the elections until their cases are heard and determined.
Meanwhile, Haki Africa have released a report on the most contentious issues highlighted by youths in various places in the country ahead of the election. According to Haki Africa Executive Director Hussein Khalid, there were 5 key issues that were raised by the youth that had already been shared to relevant bodies. The issues include increase in political violence during political activities like campaigns. Khalid also noted increased political incitement and hate speech. Additionally, misuse of youth and women was at an all-time high. The 4th issue raised by Haki Africa was misuse of social media to cause tension among communities, with the 5th one being displacement of voters through violence and tension.
The criminals are taking advantage of the situation to also loot and harm Kenyans. We have, for example, an individual who has been quoted calling on religious hatred within this country. And we have shared that information with the relevant authorities, and we expect action to be taken.
Most of the leaders, when they come to campaign around Coast, they all talk about the operation of KPA and SGR, ensuring that when they're elected in position, they will make sure that they restore the operations of KPA and SGR that will go back to the coast. These are issues that are really creating tensions on the ground, and we wish to tell our youth to be very vigilant in whenever they attend these political activities.
Representatives from Rift Valley and Mombasa said that there were reasons for concern as tension had built in these regions in regards to the elections. They have called for action by necessary authorities to ensure there is calm as the country nears the election.
We are also engaging with our stakeholders like Haki Africa, the judiciary, the security agents. That is where we are. We know there is heightened political temperatures. And sometimes IBC is a team player. We have other relevant institutions.
Grace Songoi for Hope TV News Watch.
Please come here.
Tob Cohen's sister, Gabrielle Anna Van Straten, has called for justice for her late brother as the legal battle for Cohen estate continued in court on Monday. In court proceedings, Gabrielle told the court that Cohen was forced to marry Sarah Wairimu, with the suspect threatening to deport him if he declined to marry her. The sister testified that Cohen never had children with his first wife, who was a Dutch national, and never had a child with Sarah Wairimu either. While refuting claims that Wairimu has shares to Cohen's properties, Gabrielle said that she received an email from her brother telling her where to find the will in case he is murdered. Let's listen in to the court proceedings that happened on Monday.
Did you give an interview to a newspaper?
Well, a wife and I don't know how to say that.
The first one
was passed away. Yeah. So the second wife.
Did he get another Dutch woman?
Woman, yes.
Yes, she got another Dutch woman.
Yes.
When is buying the land in Kenya?
Pardon?
2000 is buying land in Kenya.
Oh, buying the land. Yes.
True?
Yes.
He has another woman of Dutch origin.
Yeah.
I'm not interested with the Dutch ladies. Did he have any Kenyan woman as a wife in the year 2000? Was Sarah married to him that time?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you. Briefly, why didn't you attend the wedding?
I started to say that my brother Top was in a fight with the neighbors about his land, And then Sarah said, if you don't marry me now, they will send you out, they will, how do you say, deport you out of the country.
Let's move into politics now. Azimio One Kenya presidential candidate Raila Odinga and his running mate Martha Karua alongside Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka today took the Azimio campaigns to Garissa, where they were received by Governor Ali Korane. Odinga made several stopovers in Bura, Msalani and Dadaab, where he promised residents of Garissa an improved state of education and an end to extrajudicial killings if elected president in the August 9th general election. Dickens Luvanda has this report.
Garissa County on Monday played host to Azimio One Kenya Alliance presidential campaigns, with the candidate Raila Odinga leading his troops in addressing residents of the vast northern Kenya county.
Baba Care itakuwa imepata pesa ya kutosha. 6,000 kwa kila nyumba itakuwa imepatikana.
Raila Amolo Odinga atafunga mawe mbili kwa tumbo mpaka mpate barabara hapa Dadaab.
The leaders highlighted issues affecting residents of Garissa and the entire northern Kenya region, saying they have suffered under all the regimes ever since the country got independence.
Daktari wa barabara sio mwingine ni Raila Amolo Odinga. Kura kwa Raila ni kula kwa maendeleo.
Hapa na mto Tana inapita hapa naenda huko. Tunataka kutoa hii maji kwa matumizi ya watu wetu hapa. Tunatumia kunyunyusha mashamba hapa, tunapata chakula sawa sawa. Sivyo? Mambo ya irrigation tutafanya hapa. Na eneo zingine kule ambaye ni mbali, tunachimba mabwawa ya kuvuna maji. Ili wakati ya mvua mingi, tunavuna maji na tutakuwa ndani ya mabwawa hiyo. Kama ikikija, kuna maji ya kutosha kwa mifugo yetu.
Odinga, who was welcomed by Governor Ali Korane, who is seeking re-election under the Jubilee Party, a member of the Azimio Oka, promised to end rising cases of extrajudicial killings in Garissa, besides improving the education sector in the region which has seen teachers escape due to insecurity reasons.
Haki za Wakenya wengine itaisha. Mambo ya kuchukua vijana, kuwatorosha na hawapatikani tena itaisha. Kama ni mpahalifu apelekwe kotini, tusikize kesi, ahudumiwe kisheria. Lakini mauaji ya kiholela tumekataa, na serikali ya Azimio itakomesha hiyo mara moja.
Mambo ya usalama tutaimarisha. Hatutaki kuona kama mtu yeyote anashika Mkenya yoyote anakwenda anaua bila sababu. Extrajudicial killings must end.
Tunataka huduma za matibabu siwe ni sawa, kama ni mahospitali iwe kila mahali na dispensaries.
Tunafanya kitu inaitwa affirmative action hapa. Hata tukileta hata grade ya chini, waende wafundishwe kama walimu, ili kuwe na walimu wa kutosha hapa katika mashule. Manake watoto hapa wanafanya mtihani moja na wale ngambo ile ingine, sio?
The leaders also promised to address issues of insecurity along the Kenyan border in the northern region.
Miaka 31 watoto hajaenda shule, wanajua tu AK47. Hii ndio kalamu yao. Kwa hivyo mjue mpaka Somalia imarike, sisi wenyewe tunakuwa na upungufu wa amani, na ndio lazima tuzidi kufanya kazi na wao, tukijua wa Somalia wenyewe ndio wataileta amani kwa nchi yao.
In the campaign trail, Azimio leaders faulted their rivals, accusing them of luring Kenyans to vote for them by delivering empty pledges.
Now we must do each and everything within your own power of freedom of electing a leader of your own choice to stop William Samoei Ruto. We must stop him.
Azimio Oka coalition also faces sibling rivalry in the Garissa gubernatorial race, with the former Governor Natif Jama vying to unseat Korane under the Wiper Party, which is also a member of the Azimio coalition. Dickens Luvanda, Hope TV Newswatch.
Meanwhile, Deputy President William Ruto has pledged to end monopoly in the health sector enjoyed by KEMSA to ensure that the cost of purchasing medical supplies goes down. Speaking during a health forum at Catholic University, Nairobi County, Dr. Ruto pointed out that the crisis being experienced in the health sector is occasioned by lack of enough healthcare workers as well as lack of medicines in the health facilities, which is said, should he be elected in the upcoming polls, he will ensure that he attends to the matter with urgency. Tess Njenga reports.
Kenya Kwanza presidential candidate William Ruto has said that his government will ensure the health sector operations will be changed from trickle-down to operate under a bottom-up approach, which he says will resolve the sector's long-standing issues. According to Ruto, majority of Kenyan patients seek services in level 4 and level 5 hospitals because they are unsure about the quality of services or the availability of medicines in smaller hospitals.
Today, almost 60% of patients, instead of going to a dispensary or a health center or a level 3 or 4 hospital, they actually choose to go to referrals. Because their experience is that there is no health professional at the dispensary. And if there is one by chance, there are no drugs.
DP Ruto further raised concerns on Kenya Medical Supplies Authority KEMSA and pledged to end the monopoly of the health sector enjoyed by KEMSA to ensure that the cost of purchasing medical supplies goes down. According to DP Ruto, all counties in the country appear to be experiencing serious problems with KEMSA that have yet to be resolved.
I don't know about the wisdom of having a monopoly called KEMSA. Some people must persuade us that there is logic, there is reason why we have a facility that don't have drugs that are required at the right time, but they have drugs that stay in the stores until they expire.
Speaking during a health forum at Catholic University, Kenya National Union of Nurses General Secretary Seth Panyako added that it is necessary to have a centralized system of paying salaries to health workers.
You give me a centralized system of payment of salary, a centralized system of allowing county governments to give us the specs on the employees they want. You, County A, give us the specs as the health system, as the whatever it is, the workers you want, pay, employ them. Once you employ these workers, offload them into that system. Even if you have the Health Service Commission, as we have been saying before, of which, if we can get our salaries on time, statutory deductions can be paid on time, and there's a system where health workers can work across the country seamlessly.
Also present were Kenya Kwanza core principals, ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi, and Ford Kenya party leader Moses Wetangula, who called on accountability in Kenyan institutions on the country's resources.
One of the key issues that we shall undertake as Kenya Kwanza is to really revisit this area, literally make it airtight, so that people cannot divert money that is supposed to be for medical care in this country to be taken into investments that are simply gambling investments that tie up resources for such a long time and deny the ordinary citizen of services when they are required, yet that citizen, during his or her working life, contributed to that fund.
We are going to be a responsible government. The shouting matches we see between Panyako and his team and the government will be part of our history so that we can be able to seamlessly work for Kenyans.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Away from that, President Uhuru Kenyatta has called for urgent global action to address challenges facing oceans, seas and the marine environment, saying the world needed to upgrade from proposals on this subject to tangible interventions. Speaking in Lisbon, Portugal, where he co-chaired the opening plenary session of the second United Nations Ocean Conference, with President Marcelo Rebelo and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. President Kenyatta said time has come for world leaders to work together in the scaling up of conservation action driven by science and innovation to help solve challenges facing sustainability and health of global maritime resources. Once again, President Kenyatta said that human action continues to put ocean systems under immense stress, especially from indiscriminate dumping of plastic waste, pointing out that more than 8 million tons of plastics are thrown into oceans each year.
This conference comes at the right place, at the right time, with the right approach, and with the right Secretary General of the United Nations. Yes, it is indeed an honor and a pleasure to have His Excellency Antonio Guterres promoting this important meeting as UN Secretary General, a man of principles, a man of convictions, a promoter of peace, social justice, and sustainable development.
We now have the science. We are no longer engaged in guesswork. We know the harm that we are doing to our oceans. We know that if we do not begin to reverse some of those actions, we are facing a global calamity. This is not a fight that can be won by any one nation. This is a fight that is going to require each and every one of us. This is where our attention should be, and it is indeed my hope, especially working through you, our colleagues in the Fourth Estate, working with young people whose future it is that we are jeopardizing. We will begin to find and to act on the solutions that we already have.
All right, with that, let's now take a short commercial break on news. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
Every day, over 15 million members are transforming Africa. Million members empowered to create, to harvest, to unite, to dream. Equity. Karibu member.
Welcome back to Newswatch. Let's look at what is happening at the counties. Kisii County Director of Education, Pius Ngoma, has appealed to private schools in Kisii to build competency-based curriculum classrooms as part of the county's preparedness for junior secondary school next year. Speaking to the press at his office in Kisii town, Ngoma pointed out that private schools have not come up strongly in building junior secondary school classrooms. The director said they are keen on partnering with private schools to ensure the county accommodates the pupils will transition to secondary schools during the double intake next year. According to him, the sector faces challenges as most private schools have small pieces of land for expansion.
The challenges that are my colleagues are facing is one, getting the land, first of all. In urban areas, we are told we should have at least half an acre. And then number two, the cost of acquiring that piece of land. And number three, now the cost of putting up the necessary infrastructure that are recommended by the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Public Health.
Our private schools have not come up strongly in building junior classes. So far in the whole county, we have only 19 schools that have showed interest, and we are appealing for more to come up to set up junior secondary schools, junior classes for the secondary school, because as we prepare for the double intake next year, we need partnership with the private schools to have more classrooms. One partner in the in the private schools has offered almost 40 classes in his two institutions, that is Imperial Academy. They are ready for it, and we hope by the end of the year, both Imperial and St. Green Hill, we shall have had 40 classes prepared for junior secondary school.
And in Narok North MP Moitalel Ole Kenta has received a major boost after a portion of Kipsige's leaders pledged to support his gubernatorial bid. Kenta, who is vying on an ODM ticket, was received and welcomed at Emuru Dikir constituency, where he held a political rally and pledged to enhance development in the constituency. The leaders present, including former Narok Agriculture CEC Richard Birir, blamed political rivals over the Mau forest land that saw thousands evicted to preserve the water catchment. The aspiring governor has pledged to remove about 4,000 ghost workers in the county should he be elected governor. Narok County has 398,700 registered voters.
Watu wetu mheshimiwa gavana nikiomba kiti 92 hawakuwa watu waombaomba. Kila mtu hapa alikuwa na kitosheleza. Kwa hivyo ujue mheshimiwa Kenta, tuko na kazi kurudisha watu penye walikuweko. Na nafurahi natangazia wananchi ya kwamba kipengele ya pili kwa tempo na agenda yako inaangazia hapo. Na tunakupongeza maana umefikiria na umeangazia.
Ole Kenta ako na kura zaidi ya 200,000. Kwa hivyo nataka kuwaambia nyinyi, mtu mwenye atakuwa governor, nyinyi mumeona hii magari yote ambayo iko hapa, hakuna mtu amewekewa mafuta, ni jamii yote ya county wamesema tutaenda na governor kwenda kusalimia watu wa Emuru Dikir.
Ukisikia mimi napigwa ni kwa sababu gani? Sababu ninasema sitaki corruption Narok. Na sitaki corruption sababu corruption inaumiza nyinyi, inaumiza watu yote, inatuharibia maendeleo. Sisi tunataka uchumi ikuwe sawa. Mmesikia Birir akisema nini? Mlikuwa kwa tajiri zamani. Nini nimewamaliza? Nimesema nitawatajirisha tena kama vile mlikuwa kwa tajiri zamani. Sababu ni kuchunga hiyo mali ifikie nyinyi. Iko shida wapi? Hakuna. Naambiwa ati kuna watu nitafuta. Wacha niwaambie ukweli. Kuna watu nitafuta. Yule mtu hajatoka Narok anachukua kazi ya mtoto Emuru Dikir, ataenda mtoto Emuru Dikir apate kazi. Kwa sababu hawezi kuenda kuleta mtu Kajiado, uende ulete mtu Nakuru, uende ulete Eldoret, ulete Bomet, ulete nini, halafu watoto wetu wanaachwa bila kazi. Pia hatuwezi kukubali. Yes, mimi nataka mpate kazi. Hamwezi kusomeshwa na wazazi wenu halafu mnakaa hapa wengine wanaandikwa kazi, sivyo? Kwa hivyo tumesema watoto wa Emuru Dikir, watoto wa Narok Town, watoto wa Mau wapate kazi, sivyo? Sisi tutakubaliana na nyinyi. Kwa hivyo hakuna mtu hapa mimi nitasumbua hata kidogo. Vile nitafanya nitengeneza uchumi niwaandike hata zaidi. Kwa hivyo ile mtu anataka kutumia hiyo mjue ni urongo. Na kwanza nyinyi youth nitawashughulikia. Nasikia hata mpati kazi ya army, amupati kazi ya police, amupati kazi ya forest service. Hiyo sasa itakuwa kazi yangu kuhakikisha mnapata sababu nyingine wa Kenya.
To Siaya County now, maendeleo ya wanawake leader Rehab Muyu has castigated Roots Party presidential candidate George Wajakoya's manifesto, telling Siaya residents to reject him. Speaking in Siaya County while popularizing the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance manifesto, Muyu said his election pledges to legalize bang and rare snakes do not sit well with the church.
Hakuna kitu ya kusema system itafanya. Lazima tuweke kura yetu baba apite. Unanielewa? Hakuna kitu ati system nini. Lazima tupige kura ihesabiwe baba na mother wapite. Tumekubaliana? Lazima pia tuamke mapema sana. Tuwe tunapanga laini kutoka saa 10. Tuko na mtu naye anasema watoto wapande banki. Si ndio? Ni wangapi wanakubali hiyo maneno wa mama? Hata kama niko mgonjwa sasa nguvu imerudi. Wewe ulizaa mtoto akapande banki, akaonyeshwe nyoka. Hiyo ni story gani? Na sisi ni Wakristo. Kwa mama, lazima tukataa hiyo maneno tunaambiwa na huyo Wanjakoyo kabisa kabisa kabisa. Sisi ni Wakristo na hamtaki. Mnataka wasichana watoto wapande banki. Mnataka nyoka sijui ziko wapi ziletwe, sijui zishikwe. Mnataka hiyo story? Na kwa sababu sisi ni Wakristo, kuna maneno kama wamama tutakataa. Ni sawa sawa? Na kwa hivyo mimi nasimama kuambia watoto wetu wale wanasikiliza ile kampeni ya Ingii. Hakuna maana ya kupatia mtoto 500 shillings, anaenda anakunywa kitu haina maana, kesho yake unamuona is a useless child. So we want a government ile inakuja iko na manifesto very clear 10. Baba amesema ile familia haina kitu itapata 6,000 every month. Makofi kwa baba.
Let's move to Uasin Gishu County. Uasin Gishu Independent gubernatorial candidate Bundotich Zedekia Kiprop Elias Buzeki has dismissed the 6-piece voting pattern in the county, calling on Uasin Gishu residents to elect leaders based on their performances and not parties. Speaking while on a campaign trail in the county, Buzeki told off UDA leaders, including Deputy President William Ruto and his running mate Rigathi Gachagua, saying the 6-piece voting pattern has been compromised. He has, however, maintained that he is in the race to succeed Governor Jackson Mandago and that no amount of intimidation will push him out of the race.
Mimi ni mtu mtenda kazi na ninajua kitu nataka nikuje nifanyie watu wa Uasin Gishu na nyinyi. Nikasema nitaweka independent. Kiongozi ni yule mtu wako na mipangilio ya kazi. Kiongozi sio chama. Na sina ubaya na chama ya mtu, lakini kwa miaka mingi hatujaona manufaa ya machama, lakini tumeona manufaa ya viongozi ambayo wako na moyo ya kujitolea, moyo ya huruma na moyo ya kunyenyekea. Hawa ndio watu ambaye mimi nawaomba nyinyi, kesho mkienda kutafuta viongozi, ukipata kiongozi na chama ile unapenda, sere, hiyo inaitwa double tick. Lakini ukiona kiongozi amesimama mahali fulani na unaona utenda kazi yake haitakuridhisha, wachana na yeye, tafuta kiongozi ambaye atakuwa manufaa kwako kesho. Mumeona uchumi vile iko ngumu. Mbolea imefika shilingi 7,000. Hata wengine nafikiri hawajapanda safari hii, watu walisema wacha ikae. Si ndio? Kwa hivyo iko shida kubwa sana kwa maneno ya uchumi. Vijana wamemaliza sukuli, ni vijana wako na nguvu, wanataka kufanya kazi lakini hakuna nafasi.
In Garissa County, just days after the Garissa market fire, traders in the market have called for the disbandment of the market committee, accusing it of corruption and mismanagement. The traders have also accused it of diverting funds meant for them to other users. The fire that gutted the market last week affected more than 5,000 small and middle-level businesses and business people. Dolly Murigi tells us more.
Hundreds of traders at the famed Sugmukti market in Garissa town are still counting losses after mysterious fire raised it last week on Thursday morning. Until Monday, the cause has not yet been established. Some traders say it was deliberately started. Others blame it on electrical fault in one of the shops. Addressing the press at the market, the traders also called on political leaders and well-wishers to stop channeling any assistance meant for them through the association until a new one is formed. On Friday last week, Governor Ali Korane met a few officials of the Market Association led by Chairman Bilo Bashir to deliberate on viable ways of helping the victims. He asked the committee to compile a list of victims from more than 1,000 stalls and determine the priorities. But the traders say that the committee purporting to represent them had not been voted in or selected to represent them. Eunice Wamboi, who specializes in the avocado business, called on the relevant authorities to come in and disband the committee.
Hatupati kitu, tumehangaika kwa hii soko. Na mimi kwanza nimekaa kwa hii soko karibu miaka 20. Hii shida ya moto ni kila baada ya election tunachomewa. Wanasiasa ndo wanapitia kutuchomea hii soko.
Mahat Siatu specializes in groceries at the market gave the example of 2017 where the items donated by Garissa Township Member of Parliament Aden Duale and the late Garissa Senator Yusuf Haji, after the market was raised down, did not reach them.
Tuko na komiti zingine sisi tutafute hii mbeleni tufunje tujue maslaha ya wananchi. Hii kina mama wako na watoto wengi sana mbaye zinasoma shule hapa na hakuna, na sasa tumekuwa refugee. Sisi tuko wa Kenya. Mimi kwangu si Ethiopia wala Somalia wala Uganda.
Deka Dahir on her part called on the national government to mount CCTV cameras and deploy Kenya police reservists to guide the market, saying that those behind the fires were taking advantage of their absence.
Tunaomba president atuokoe. Ya pili, asiumpe mtu yote ile kitu anataka kutupatia sisi wa Kenya. Kwa ajili hatuna komiti, lakini tukijaliwa na Mungu tukuwa na uwezo tutajijengea komiti ambaye anaweza kutufaa sisi wenyewe.
On her part, Amina Ibrahim urged the leaders and other well-wishers to hasten and provide them with assistance so that they can get back to business.
Tunataka wale wa komiti yetu ambaye sasa tutawachagua, si wale wa mbeleni kama huyu tunajuana, ambaye anajua kila mama hali anakaa. Na watu waliasarika, lakini asara ni tofauti. Kuna watu wameasarika sana na kuna atilisa sarao ni wadogo. Sasa tunajua vile sasa hiyo pengine hiyo usaidizi kikuja, sisi ndio tunajipanga.
On Friday, Garissa OCPD James Ngetit was still investigating the watchmen who were guarding the market at the same time, the fire as well as officials from KPLC in order to establish what transpired. Dolly Murigi, Hope TV.
Moving to the coast, Nakada Regional Manager John Karisa has estimated the number of heroin drug users in Mombasa County to be at 13,000, of which he sounded an alarm calling for concerted efforts among stakeholders to fight the vice. Speaking during the International Day Against Drugs and Illicit Trafficking in Mombasa, Karisa said the government is working tirelessly to fight the vice. Outreach Director Taib Bashaib has, however, commended the government's efforts in establishing a rehabilitation center that has proven to ease the drug burden. At the same time, Mombasa gubernatorial candidate Abdul Somad Nasir has pledged to work with anti-drug activists and organizations to combat drug abuse in the county.
Tatizo hilo la utumiaji wa heroin hapa coast sana sana limejitiri hapa Mombasa County. Kwa hivyo lazima ndio tumekuja leo tuangalie mikakati gani kama serikali na washikadau tunaweza tukasaidia hilo janga ambalo tuko nalo. Kwa hivyo kwa ufupi, Mombasa County ukilinganisha na the other counties za pwani, kulingana na utafiti ambao tumefanya, hata utumiaji wa banki pia uko juu. Utumiaji pia wa zile tunaweza prescription drugs, zile dawa ambazo wanazitumia bila ruhusa za daktari pia uko juu. Utumiaji wa aina ya tobacco ama tobacco products pia iko juu Mombasa County. Of course, pombe hapa pwani, Kilifi County ndio iko mstari wa mbele katika utumiaji wa pombe. Na sana sana hii inaletwa kwa sababu ya ile pombe ya kienyeji ya mnazi. That is why unapata Kilifi County iko mbele katika utumiaji wa pombe. But of course Mombasa County also inakuwa ni namba 2 katika hizi county hizi za pwani.
Kiangalia international level tuna law ambayo imepitishwa, lakini bado tunataka iboreshwe kwa sababu haijaangalia ile scale down ya mambo ya rehabilitation, mambo ya harm reduction, mambo ya wawa vijana kupata socio economic support ambayo ni kubwa sana.
I am a proactive person. I will sit with all of you, and we will go through that bill, and I will personally ensure that bill is enacted into a county law so that tuweze kupigana katika vita hivi, tuwe na sheria ambazo kwamba zinatusaidia katika kupigana na vita hivi.
Still at the coast, a cross-section of Mombasa political leaders have launched a door-to-door youth civic education on the importance of participating in August polls and voting in credible leaders. The leaders, through their door-to-door political sittings, are educating the youths on the importance of engaging in peaceful campaigns ahead of the August 9th election without being used by politicians to cause chaos or attack opponents in campaign trails. Led by Eric Gitonga, who is vying for Nyali parliamentary seat as an independent candidate, the leaders said politicians recognize the crucial importance of youth engagement, empowerment and participation in democratic life before, during and after election.
What I'm doing, I'm trying to enlighten the youth not to be used by the politicians as pressure groups. I'm telling them to learn how to embrace even other candidates who are running for the same seats. We need to have that cohesiveness, we need to have that union so that we can have proper campaigns that are free and safe without any kind of war and fights. I'm also telling them not to be involved in this violence and also to get out of the drug menace because, you know, when the youths are idle, that's why they are getting to those areas of drug trafficking and all these things.
Nafikiri mmefuatizia campaign. Maona hakuna mahali tumesumbuliwa ama tumerushiwa mawe ama matusi ama nini. Tumepeana fursa kwa kila mgombeaji wa kila chama apewe nafasi auze sera yake maeneo yetu ya Nyali. Hiyo milango ya Nyali iko wazi. Mtu aende kampeni mahali kokote pale anataka katika Nyali na amepewa nafasi. Yeye auze tu sera yake, amalize, aende zake peaceful. Hakuna mtu ambaye atamuuliza hivi ama atamrushia nini. Sisi tumekemea kabisa kama viongozi.
Thousands of people throng cities every single day looking for opportunities to make their lives better. They are employees, business owners, or just opportunity seekers desiring to have a breakthrough in their lives. Join me, DM Tanki, as we take this journey from the perspective of different successful entrepreneurs and corporate employees on Occupy Today every Sunday from 8 p.m. exclusively on Hope TV. Look and live.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome. Let's continue with business news. Equity Group and CFAO Group have partnered to provide local farmers and other primary players in the agriculture value chain easy access to farm inputs and machinery in support of enhancing food security and empowering small-scale farmers to farm the future. This is part of the Africa Recovery and Resilience Plan, which was recently launched at the Commonwealth Heads of Government Meeting 2022 in Rwanda. Through the partnership, farmers and other players within the agriculture ecosystem will continue receiving financing from Equity to boost access to farm machineries. Speaking at the signing ceremony, Equity Group Managing Director and CEO Dr. James Mwangi said the group is doing everything it can to increase agriculture production.
Agriculture contributes 33% of the GDP of the country. So it is the most significant sector of the economy.
When you look at employment, agriculture contributes to 40% of the entire employment in this country. COVID has exposed in terms of the unsustainable economic model that we were learning the world with. It has put into question all the theories that we believed in of economies of scale, globalization, just-in-time supply.
Aside from agriculture, where we are anchoring our new partnership with Equity Bank, and we must take these opportunities and lead other private sector players in exploiting the huge potential that exists on the continent. The continent, despite regular droughts, is endowed with a very conducive climate which allows us to grow and process various foods and cash crops, probably more than any other continent.
The just concluded WRC Safari Rally has injected fresh impetus on Kenya's economy, lifting the hospitality and tourism sectors. This is according to KCB Group CEO Paul Russo. The World Showpiece event is estimated to have pumped in over 6 billion shillings into the economy, with beneficiaries cutting across hospitality sector, tourism, micro and small enterprises, MSMEs, among others. Speaking during the third day of the WRC Safari Rally in Sosambu, Russo said the rally came in handy to boost the economy.
We're proud as KCB to be part of not just bringing back WRC, but also to make and create entertainment, to create fun. People will obviously recognize competition, which is what the drivers are doing. But on the back of what we're doing is about fun. It's about, bring back tourism, especially on the back of COVID-19. So just bringing in the experience. And I personally always say, getting people to experience Kenya. I think we all have a challenge to get Kenya to be a meetings and events location. We are in WRC, we are doing it for Kenya, we are doing it as KCB, and we are the core. We've had conversations and we continue with the KMSF conversations in terms of in-country safari rallies. That we are on the table.
And to some sports news now. Kali Rovanpera won this year's edition of the Safari Rally on Sunday, with the young Finn leading a Toyota sweep of the top 4 places to stretch his World Championship lead to 65 points. The last time Toyota managed a 1-2-3-4 finish was at the same event in 1993, won by Yua Kankunen. Meanwhile, Kenya's youngster lady driver Maxine Wahome, navigated by Murage Waigwa, put in assured performances to shine at the recently concluded WRC Safari Rally held in Naivasha, making our WRC 3 debut on home soil in her new Ford Fiesta machine. Wahome boasting 14 stages, clocking 5 hours, 20 minutes and 21 seconds to lead the all Ford Fiesta Rally 3 category, which also saw her finish in the 16th position overall.
Yeah, the rally was okay. It started off very well. We were leading the rally comfortably. Unfortunately, on Saturday, we hit a rock, which put us out of contention and put us out of victory. But then we came back here on Sunday and we managed to get a podium, so I'm very happy. Every rally is different. Here in Kenya, it's a little bit tougher. This year, it was very, very tough. I'm very surprised. So the others in Europe are quite different, very fast roads. Here in Kenya, it's very rough and very tough, yeah. In 2 weeks' time, I'll be doing the Rally of Estonia, so that's what I'm looking forward to, part of my Junior World Rally Championship campaign. So that's where I'm going next year.
Tough for us. It was good once it got going. We had a problem on Friday, so we were set quite far back in penalties. But once we got back on the road, we were quite quick, which was quite encouraging. I was able to push myself and push the car, and we gelled quite well, myself, the car, and Victor. So we really enjoyed the driving. Hopefully, next rally or next year we can have a smoother run of things. But it's encouraging. Our pace was quite comparable to the guys in the class ahead and the guys around us. So we have a lot of encouragement to take from this. Every stage had its challenge because rocks are rocks. So maybe yesterday, sleeping area is quite tricky. And when it rains, it gets really muddy. That's the one that rained. So outright, I can say that was by far the trickiest. Today, maybe something like Hell's Gate, because it dug up a lot. So there's just a lot of boulders and stones and ruts. So, and then the fact that it's also the last stage, trying to avoid all of those. But nothing was undefeatable. We had quite a good run.
It was a tough rally, extremely tough one, especially for me, the brand new car. But my goal was to learn the car, take every day step by step, and yeah, that's what got me here. Next is the Africa Rally Championship, the ARC. So that's what we're gonna do after this. I'd say Hell's Gate, this Hell's Gate that we did today, and on Friday, Kedong, the first that everyone has complained about. It was the most challenging.
Dan Shikanda has been re-elected as the AFC Leopard chairman after a successful election conducted by the Center for Multi-Party Democracy, Kenya, at Kasarani Indoor Arena on Sunday. Shikanda, who was elected into office in 2019, will now serve for a second term after flooring his closest opponent, Ronald Namai. The former Leopards player garnered 459 votes to be elected chairman, defeating Namai, who got 282 votes. Well, that story brings us to the end of this live broadcast. Thank you so much for watching Hope TV News Watch. Till next time, enjoy the rest of your viewing. I'm Tony Omondi, and our sign language interpreter has been Boniface Murithi. Have a good night and God bless.